Hello people of YouTube, my name is Brad, this is my channel Animan Orange, and welcome to another Metal Earth build video. Today we're going to put together the Boeing Starliner space model right here. As you can see, I've already opened the package, I've already built the model actually, but to start with we're going to need to go to the table where I opened this up to see what's inside and start putting this model together. Alright, let's open up the Boeing Starliner and see what we're in for. My expectation is for not something too complex. We have, looks like a single sheet of instructions and a single sheet of metal parts. And that's a little bit encouraging. I could use a little bit of a break and something easier to build. So there's your sheet of our metal. We'll put that to the side. We're going to open up the instructions in case there's anybody watching that's new to building these models. I'm going to go over the instructions somewhat briefly. Everybody else can skip ahead a few minutes. Open this up to the Metal Earth logo page. And you've got your Metal Earth logo. You've got an outline of the model and the sheet. 360 view, you've got a QR code here that you can scan to basically take you to this web address that's also listed out here, where there will be a 360 digital view that you can spin around on the screen for reference sake should you need to know how a part looks after it's together. Down here we've got a sample part with the notation on insertion tabs, insertion holes, and fold lines. Tabs and the holes or slots are fairly obvious what they are. Tabs go into slots. The fold lines are basically pre-scored areas on the part that help you fold that part, help you know where to fold the part, and help it make it easier to fold. Curved parts will have multiple fold lines on them. You'll see that as you build the model. Here we've got Legend E. It's talking about the engraved side or section, so if you see that pointing at something like over here, this is not quite on the screen, this is pointing at the engraved side. Needs to be facing this way when you're holding those tabs. NE is the opposite, non-engraved side or section. Don't get the engraved side mixed up with the fold lines. Looking at this, the engraved or colored side is pretty much everything facing up, but if we flip over on the back we can see like this part has a lot of fold lines because it curves. You know, there's fold lines here. This is not the engraved side, this is, or colored side. And we have a hand with a finger. That's an attention point. If you see that in the instructions, it's usually an alignment issue. Make sure that this is facing this way and that's facing that way, and you put the parts together, or it won't work out in the end. Sometimes there's notation with it, what they're trying to get your attention to, but not always. Here we have the blue circle and the green triangle. The blue circle, when you see that next to a connection point, it means to insert a tab and fold it over 90 degrees. When you see a green triangle, insert the tab and twist it to 90 degrees. A twisted tab kind of creates a knot that keeps the part from coming apart, but it's not as clean looking as a folded tab. More secure. Folded tab is cleaner, and there's reasons, you know, why they do that. The folded tabs, sometimes it's a space issue, and having that tab sticking out is not going to work. And sometimes I use my own judgment of whether or not I want to follow those instructions. But anyway, we've got an assembly tip here. If needed, slightly twist tabs to hold the parts together, then untwist and bend them down for a nice finish. And I've had parts that were kind of flimsy, and I just needed to hold it while I get the rest of the tabs. It's light twist to keep it from falling off. Get the part on, then fold them over. We've got tools. We'll talk about tools here in just a moment. And then at the bottom we've got a outline of that metal sheet, which I'll bring back into the view here. You see outline of these parts, and you'll notice that some of the parts are colored in and some of them are just outlines. The colored in parts, are the ones that are the same color, are duplicate parts. You've got part 9. This is also part 9. You've got part 15. This is also 15. So is that. So is that. You see a lot of these blue pieces. I believe that's 11. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 or 13. They're duplicate parts. Very common thing in these models. You have duplicate parts. They label one and they color code it so you can easily find the other. I love that they do that. Keeps this from being crowded with the same number. makes it easier to find, and most of the time when you're building, when you're over here in the assembly flow chart, the part will be colored as well, making it real quick to identify over here, clip and go, and there you are. So let's move over to the assembly flow chart, starting with part 1. You almost don't need to look at the outline to figure out what that part is. Here's the part we discussed before. It's pointing, the engraved side is kind of facing you, and the tabs fold inwards. You've got parts 2. Here's the part. Here's where it's at. The engraved side is also facing to you, and it attaches on those tabs. Part 3, here's the part. Here's where it is. Doesn't really say about the engraved parts. Oh yes, it does. Engraved, also facing the same direction. It attaches there, and once you attach all those, over here you basically curve the thing around into this cone shape, and you've got the tabs, but it says do not close, because you're going to need to get in there to fold tabs before you close it up properly. And there's the end result. Go to the next line, part 4, curves into this dome shape. Yeah, I've got dome shaping tools, or you can use a marble or a bead or whatever you have around the house. It connects up here, folded tabs, you end up with that. There's a little bit of a tip. And I mean, this is just the gist of it. This is a fairly simple model. Just follow the instructions, folding and shaping the parts like it tells you to. You get to the bottom. Well, actually over here, you do this twice. This assembly you do twice, and they labeled it like, here's the assembly. You start with part 9, you fold it up, you add part 7 here, you end up with that. We're going to call this assembly A, and you need to do it twice. Same here, we're going to need to call it assembly B and do it twice, because over here on page 3, they're calling for 2 of the A's to attach here and 2 of the B's to attach here on part 10. And, you know, there you go. Just keep following the directions, following the arrows, putting the parts together. Once you get over here, you are done with your model. Let's take a moment to talk about tools. You're going to want some basic tweezers and or pliers to help bend and shape and manipulate the pieces of this model. And I've got a variety of things here that I use. Some precision tweezers, some more basic tweezers with different angles on the end, and I've got long nose pliers and flat nose pliers. I've used a variety of these in my build. Pick up whatever tweezers or pliers you see fit. Maybe you have some around the house, maybe head to your local Harbor Freight, or look for something on eBay or online. Another basic accessory I feel that you're going to need is some sort of flush or side clippers to clip the parts out of the sheet. You can bend and twist them out, but you have a high risk of damaging parts. I've had a variety of different clippers. These are the ones I'm using right now. They're Plato. You can even use nail clippers from the store. They have some that cut at an angle. You can find clippers in all kinds of hardware stores or jewelry stores. Just find something to help you clip the parts out cleanly. Tweezers and pliers are going to get you so far, but there are a lot of curved and cone shapes in these builds, and there's a variety of things that you can use, and I've used a variety of things. You can find dowel rods at your local hardware store. You can find step mandrels at any jewelry shop or hobby shop. You can take dowel rods and sharpen them with a pencil sharpener to get cone shapes. I've even used marbles and beads to make rounded or dome shapes. I've gone so far as to even 3D print some of my own tools to help me with shaping. And if you're interested in these, see my description for my Etsy store, but you can find things around the house to help shape parts. I've used cheap drill bit sets, I've used medicine bottles, I've used glue sticks, I've used pens, pencils, I've heard of people using spoons. Find whatever you can to help shape these things, or go out and look at jewelry stores or craft stores for specialty tools to help you shape things. We've talked a little bit about tools. I've got my basics here to get me started. Got my metal sheet over here. Just need to organize a little bit, and we'll get started with this build. Well, that was upside down. It pays to double check things. I'm just going to fold the tabs over. I absentmindedly grabbed my old tool for shaping domes. I bent the tabs down instead of out. They need to go out. Getting all of the tabs in place here was a bit difficult, especially the last tab. I just had to keep working on it. I had a tough time bending the tiny ends of part 9 over. There are 2 sets of these side pieces. It was tough to bend these bits over at 90 degrees with the other side in the way, so I went back around and pushed them down a little more. Some of these flaps folded over just fine, while others did not want to fit. It took a little convincing and a little moving things around. A little touching up and we're all done. All finished and complete. Pretty simple model, really. Only took me an hour to put this thing together. Honestly, I'd say this makes a pretty good beginner's model if you're kind of new or getting started in 3D metal model building. It's not very complicated, not complicated at all. It did, of course, help that I had some shaping tools to do the cones and do this top part fairly quickly and easily. A little bit of a challenge bending the ends over on, where's that part at? On these little flaps here, but not that big a deal. Pretty simple model, nice little build, great addition to the space collection if you're going for that, which I kind of am here lately, and a nice starter model if you're wanting to get into Metal Earth builds. I'm going to leave it at that. Simple, easy, there you go, 1 hour build. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my Patreon supporters for continuing to support this channel. And as always, keep on keeping on.